Shalom, shalom, Yahshua Allah. We're going to start off first things first, giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakadash, which in the Paleo Hebrew tongue is great names of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to you sister brothers that's laboring in this truth, and shalom to you brothers and sisters that's listening and studying to show yourselves approved. Shalom. Seem kind of loud. Let me turn that down a bit. So, Yahshua, this gonna be a quick little World War III update. Let you know what's going on overseas. There's a lot of major events going on, and you know, as the prophets, it's our job to keep you informed, so you on the up and up. So we're gonna play a little clip because the Israelis, the Ish people, hey, they're very active. You know, very active, and you know they're doing what the prophecy said they would do. You know, they're provoking everybody. So we're gonna play a clip, and you're gonna see something they just did. You know, that was very big, man. They in Lebanon, they in other people's countries, and they letting off. So check the clip out. You're gonna get to the scriptures.
We have some breaking news coming in our newsrooms at this hour. Israeli army has targeted Beirut. Once again, Israeli army has targeted Beirut. The IDF confirmed it carried out an airstrike in Lebanon's capital Beirut a short while ago. Lebanon has been bracing for Israeli retaliation. According to the Israeli military, the strike targeted the Hezbollah commander behind the deadly rocket attack on Majd al-Shams and other deadly attacks on Israel. A loud blast was heard and a plume of smoke could be seen rising above the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital Beirut, a stronghold of Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. Tensions have spiked since Saturday when a rocket killed 12 children and teenagers at a football pitch in a Druze village. Israel accused the Iran-backed Hezbollah and vowed a harsh response. Hezbollah has denied involvement in this attack. And once again, this is just breaking news we are getting in our newsroom at this hour. And Israeli army has apparently targeted Beirut. The IDF confirms it carried out an airstrike in Lebanon's capital Beirut a short while ago. Lebanon has been bracing for Israeli retaliation. According to the Israeli military, the strike targeted the Hezbollah commander behind the deadly rocket attack on Majd al-Shams and other deadly attacks on Israel during the weekend during the past weekend. A loud blast was heard and a plume of smoke could be seen rising above the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital Beirut, as you can see on your images right there. A stronghold of Lebanese armed group Hezbollah. This is Beirut. Tensions have spiked since Saturday when a rocket killed 12 children and teenagers at a football pitch in a Druze village. And according to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, when he visited the villages during the time that the residents there were mourning the deaths of these 12 children, he did say that Israel will retaliate. Israel has accused the Iran-backed Hezbollah and has vowed a harsh response. Hezbollah has, however, denied any involvement. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
So, the Israelis, you know, the small hatters just carried out an attack in Lebanon, Beirut, and blew some stuff up, claiming, you know, they hit them, so now they're hitting back, so they're really attacking. Let's watch one more clip. And I want to get this one. This is big right here, Yahshua. Check out this one right here. This right here. This is big.
Military expert. You're now joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis. He's a military expert and host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us on WION and coming back. I guess the question many are asking is, what implications does the assassination of Haniyeh have for the already volatile Israel-Gaza conflict, and how might it impact regional dynamics with Iran's involvement at this point?
Every way it's bad, quite frankly. Hania was, by all accounts, was personally taking part in lots of the negotiations to try to find a ceasefire. He'd been doing shuttle diplomacy between a number of locations, and to take him out when allegedly, at least according to some reports, the sides were getting close to being able to make some sort of an agreement. Just bodes very ill for any possibility of reaching a ceasefire, much less an actual peace between the warring parties here, and raises the possibility of an expanded war. Because if people in the region, just bluntly stated, see that Israel assassinates the leaders with whom they're negotiating for any kind of a end of a conflict, and then they kill them when they're somewhere else, then that's going to make them much less likely to want to engage diplomatically with Israel, and may make them feel even more strongly about opposing Israel. So I think that this is a huge setback for the region, a major setback for any kind of movement towards peace, and I fear that war is going to continue to rage on and possibly even expand.
Iran has vowed revenge, but some might argue that Hania's assassination for Iran is not as big as, for example, Qasem Soleimani's assassination a few years ago by the Trump administration. And this killing of Hania comes shortly after Benjamin Netanyahu visited the U.S. And as you mentioned, some reports say that there was sort of a hope to get to some kind of negotiated settlement. So what might have Israel calculated by this move?
Well, I mean, you have to look at it at face value and to conclude that there are at least some in the Israeli government that don't want peace. They don't want a negotiated settlement. They don't want to have to deal with Hamas. I mean, there's been, lots of friction between the White House and Jerusalem over the issue of what happens next. The President Biden has been saying from the beginning. Vice President Kamala Harris is now saying again, just a couple of days ago, that they want a two-state solution. That they want a path where the Palestinian people, not Hamas, have a shot at having autonomy and freedom and a path forward for land. And we know for sure that Netanyahu was categorically against that, and many in his government are adamantly opposed to it. And so when you see them assassinate in Tehran the leader of the sect that they were negotiating with to try to find a ceasefire, then you can nearly only conclude that they didn't want that ceasefire. And the reasons why, we could only speculate on, but to your your other point there about Iran, certainly they're going to respond somewhat less emotionally than if it was someone in their government. But because it was in their capital and at the event of the inauguration of their president, they are very, very angry about that. And so it could actually meet the same level of anger. But they are kind of constrained in what they can do because they have to be careful not to respond in too strong of a way that gets them back in the crosshairs or so. So it's going to continue to be a messy and probably violent condition.
Thank you so much for that thorough analysis, Lieutenant Colonel. It's always great to have you on, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon as we follow this important story very closely.
Thank you very much.
Did you hear that, Yashar Ali? He said a messy and a violent situation. So we got now the Small Hatters done did a circle strike in Lebanon to take out Hezbollah, and they also did a surgical strike in Iran to take out the Hamas leader. And you just heard he just said they're very upset about that. And I've been seeing on my news feed, Iran vows to retaliate. So you know what their prophecy been feeling. I noticed these other countries, they're trying to way back. They're not trying to escalate, and they're trying to get their money up, get their trade up and chill out. Man, this is these Small Hatters doing this. And that's the Lord doing that because it was prophesied in our word that this would happen. Just go get it. Because they're making sure that World War III tips off. They the Small Hatters guarantee that happen. And check, I'm going to get this right here. This is Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore heard the counsel of the Lord that they have taken against Edom, who's Edom, so-called white man, And them small hatters, they are Edomites. And his purposes that he had proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Teman is the grandson of Esau. He was the warrior, and we got warriors is going on. It says, surely the least of the flock. Those small hatters, they're the smallest group of Edomites, the Amalekites. They're the smallest group of Edomites. It says, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So the small hatters, they're guaranteeing World War III pop off. They're guaranteeing it pop off. They done shot off stuff in Lebanon. They done shot off stuff in Iran. Iran already said they're going to retaliate. So I'm waiting to see what they going to blow up. What type of retaliation they going to do. They going to take out one of their leaders? Because the Israelis, they're taking out leaders of these Ishmael or Arab nations. They're taking them out, which is infuriating the people of these countries. So that's the least of the flock, the smallest group. And they got all the money, y'all. So all they got to do is chill on out. But this dude can't. He got to go over here, blow this country up, blow up this country, do all kind of war, genocide these people. Man, he is going straight bananas right now. And that's the Lord, Yahweh Shah, making him do that because we're in the verge of World War III. And he's making sure it happens. Can't nothing be peaceful. A lot of people thought this was going to die out. Go by the wayside. No, man. This dude, talking about every month or two, he blowing something up. And now he's like in other countries blowing stuff up. Not just over in Israel. No, he's in other countries blowing stuff up. So Iran, who's Iran's biggest allies? They got China and Russia in their back pocket. So that's why the USA was like, we ain't had nothing to do with this, even though they did. Because dude just took a trip to the USA. And I'm pretty sure he got weapons and all kinds of funds to help him do what he doing. He got something. The USA said, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't want no smoke. But what that scripture just say, the least of the flock should draw them out. So the Israelis, they're going to draw the USA into this war. Because I'm just waiting for Russia and China to get involved. Because if Iran start getting hit too hard, they'll call for their allies and they'll jump in. When you got Russia, China, and Babylon Great America fighting, we're at a full-blown World War III. But like the scriptures say, man, the end is not yet. MOTB got to go out first. But nonetheless, the tension overseas is there. It's already built up. All it takes is a phone call and it's going down. And the USA is doing other stuff, man. You got countries going into civil war, Bangladesh, they're riding big hard in England. And then they're also going hard in Venezuela. Like, it's a lot of activity going on overseas and other countries. Like, you can tell that prophecy is really about to take hold of this place. So let's watch another clip and see, some of the tactics. I believe Russia and the USA is fighting over Venezuela. They're fighting over them. And USA just helped put a puppet leader in place that the people don't want. And they're rebelling super hard. Because everybody now is hip to the games that Esau, Edom, the Babylonians, the Americans, the games that they play, everybody's hip to it now. So they're not falling for that tactic no more. We're like, man, we don't want this dude. He don't serve us. So let's watch a quick little clip on that.
Sanctions on individuals to the election. Thousands of people have taken to the streets of Venezuela to protest against what they call President Nicolas Maduro's fraudulent electoral victory. The protest, which the government has denounced as an attempted coup, began after the election board declared on Monday that Maduro had won a third term with 51% of the votes. However, the opposition has said that nearly about 80% of the vote tallies to which it has access to show its contestant Edmundo Gonzalez had more than twice as many votes as Maduro.
Violencia es ultrajar la verdad. Violencia es pretender desconocer la soberanía popular que ya decidió el pasado domingo. No crean que nadie va a aceptar ahora. No crean que vienen a ajustar o a cambiar actas. Las actas originales oficiales ya las conocemos y el mundo entero las ha visto.
The footage that was shared on social networks showed protesters tearing down statues of Chavez in several Venezuelan cities. According to reports, at least 5 statues were destroyed during the anti-government protests. The clashes have resulted in the death of at least about 11 people, and according to the Venezuelan authorities, at least 749 people have been detained amidst the recent protests. The detainees are being charged with offenses such as public intimidation, incitement to hatred, and in more severe cases with terrorism. Now, the renewed instability has brought divided international reactions. In the latest, the American President Joe Biden has spoken with the Brazilian President Lula da Silva, where they've agreed that the Venezuelan government must quickly publish the vote tallies of Sunday's contested election and end the crisis in the country. The United States has further said that it is mulling on fresh sanctions on individuals that are linked to elections unless there is greater transparency about the vote.
We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people. It's critical that every vote be counted fairly and transparently, that election officials immediately share information with the opposition and independent observers without delay, and that the electoral authorities publish the detailed tabulation of votes.
Meanwhile, Brazil's government on Monday hailed what it called the peaceful election day in Venezuela and said that it was closely monitoring the vote count. A slew of Latin American leaders have also cast a bit of a doubt on the election results, demanding for a complete review of the poll results. This includes Argentina, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Guatemala, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, the Dominican Republic, and Uruguay. Now, in response, the Venezuelan government has announced the withdrawal of all diplomatic staff from the embassies of these Latin American nations. Meanwhile, Copa Airlines on Tuesday said that Venezuela had decided to temporarily suspend all commercial flights between Panama and Venezuela beginning on Wednesday evening. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
There you see right there. So everybody's rebelling. We got uproars of the people. People gathering for war. You can tell that Yahushua is about to visit this place, man. It's chaos about to ensue. And like we just seen the beginning of it. You know, it ain't hit Babylon the Great yet, but all over the world, man, places are going crazy. You know, all the tension is up. They don't want that puppet leader dude. They know what that is. And Venezuela's crazy. You see, they throwing rocks at their government. Ain't got no proper stuff to fight back, man. They just out there just banging. And I noticed something else that hit my spirit as I was watching that. Because of them strikes on, you know, Iran, Turkey said that they are thinking about invading Israel and helping out the Palestinians. There you go. Let's check that clip out. You know, it's going to be very clip heavy. Check that out. And so that's, hey, the nations getting gathered for war. And Turkey's an ex-NATO member. So they got all the NATO secrets. They done left NATO. And they're talking about joining in with the BRICS and, you know, fighting against the small hatters, the Israelis. So check this out. It's back on cue. I'm like, what? Turkey talking about going in and banging? It's going down, baby. Check it out.
Staying in the Middle East, amid skyrocketing tensions in the region, Turkey has decided to increase its anti-Israel rhetoric. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has threatened to invade Israel in support of Palestinians in Gaza. Speaking to his country's defense industry, Erdogan said that Turkey could intervene in the war in Gaza as it had done in the past in Libya and Nagorno-Karabakh.
What was our imports-exports in the defense industry, and where have they come to? Dear brothers, let none of these fool us. We need to be very strong so that Israel cannot do these ridiculous things to Palestine. Just as we entered Karabakh, just as we entered Libya, we can do something similar to them. There is no reason for us not to. We only have to be strong so that we can take these steps.
Now, Erdogan was referring to his past actions in 2020 when Turkey had sent troops to Libya in support of a United Nations-backed accord. Turkey has also actively supported Azerbaijan with military training and technology in the conflict with Armenia over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. Now, following the threat from Erdogan, Israeli leaders called the Turkish president a wannabe dictator. Israel's opposition leader Yair Lapid has urged NATO nations to condemn the threats made by Erdogan, as Turkey is a NATO member. Meanwhile, Israel's foreign minister has compared Erdogan to the slain Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. In recent months, the Turkish president has launched a string of verbal attacks against Israel and its prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. And this is not the first time that Erdogan has threatened Israel. In fact, while addressing the parliament in May, Erdogan said that Israel is a rogue state and has to be stopped by Ankara. At the same speech, Erdogan announced that Turkey had ended all trade relations with Israel over the war in Gaza. Now the United States and other NATO members are yet to comment on Erdogan's threats, which have only grown bolder and more direct against Israel in the 10-month-long war against Hamas.
Bolder and more direct. Did you hear that? Yashrallah, bolder and more direct. They're flexing. Talking about I'm about to come in there and put my foot off in you. So we got countries talking about warring with each other. And they're going to go to war as things escalate. You know, which brings a precept up. Because this is going down. People talking about World War III ain't going to happen. It's going to calm down. Nah, man, this stuff is intensifying. So this is Joel 3:2. I will also gather all nations. All these nations about to go to war. And will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. The real Israelites. See, the people know that they're not the real Israel no more. So they're not afraid to go to war with them. And that's showing that they're not afraid of Babylon Great USA. Because that's who backs Israel up. The Israelis up. You know, let me break it down like that. The Israelis, the small hatters, are backed by USA, Babylon the Great. And people now are no longer afraid of Babylon the Great. So you got a world leader right there in Turkey talking about, look here, if y'all don't step down, I'm about to send my people after you. And that's only going to make other nations more bold. Iran going to get boldened up and do something. Everybody going to buck up to them, man. And they're going to call the USA, and we're going to be at World War III before you know it. It's about to get real ugly out here. So with that, we need to be, making sure we're doing our due diligence. Making sure we're examining ourselves, praying and standing this truth. Because all hell is about to break loose, man. World War III is going to happen. Ain't no, I'll push it off. It might not happen. Man, it's about to happen very soon. Turkey just said they think about going to war with the Israelis. You already know the other little countries going to back them up. No, they going to back them up. So I'm going to leave out this right here. Because this intensifying ain't dying down. The dude ain't chilling out. He just blowing stuff up, blowing up people's generals and stuff. And they ain't gonna liking that. So this Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. World War III is right on the horizon. First the dollar gotta crash. It's gotta be the mark of the beast, MOTB gotta be made mandatory. And then you're gonna see full-blown World War III. Everybody got nukes, gonna let their nukes off. It's gonna be full-blown in a minute. Right now, we're seeing all the tussling and talking before the fight. But nonetheless, they're going to be in a fight, man. All these nations are going to be banging. Russia, China, all nations that got a military are going to be fighting. Joshua, that's how bad it's getting. The Lord said he would gather all nations, and they going to bang. So I just want to show you, man, this thing's intensifying. Get all this truth while you can, because this place can go up, and smoke overnight. Because this place is it's getting crazy out here. So with that, I want to say, Kwam Yashar Allah. And stay locked in, because Yahweh Shai is quickly on the way. Shalom.